top 10 guitar-only songs. And guys, let me tell you, I think that the guitar is one of the most capable instruments when it comes to sounding like complete music. Meaning, if you have just a guitar, the potential to make it sound like a full orchestra or a full band is much more present than, let's say, a French horn or a tuba. And these are my top 10 guitar-focused instrumental songs. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Tell me your favorite guitar-focused pieces of music, and I would love to listen to it and put it into part 2 of maybe not the top 10. This is the top 10 list. And if you don't like the top 10 list, fuck you, it's my list. But I'll put it in a future video where we talk about virtuosic guitar-focused music. Make sure you go to the channel and check out my other videos, guys. I've got some awesome stuff there. YouTube has been shadow banning me, so it would really be awesome if you guys could do as much commenting and stuff as you can. I'm sorry to hard CTA you guys. I have to do it. This is how you generate engagement. So back to the video. Now, we are going to be focusing on the genre of heavy metal or things that are heavy metal adjacent. The reason being is because this is a heavy metal channel. I love metal music. Womb to the Tomb has always been my thing. That's really because metal to me is the most interesting music. I believe this is so because it really is musicians at the tip of the spear of innovation in music that are performing at the highest level. Now, tip of the spear avant-garde metal music isn't generally like critically acclaimed or even what we would call like a chart-topping song. Like, I don't think any of these acts are going to be selling out Madison Square Garden and having a #1 record on the New York Times anytime soon. But I do believe that of the big three, being classical, jazz, and metal music, metal has the highest potential for mass appeal. And also, metal is just the coolest by far. So now, when we talk about the big three, to me, you can be a classical musician, which honestly, metal and classical are kind of almost in the same vein, just separated by like a couple hundred years. You can be a jazz musician, and jazz can be fun in the right setting, but outside of that, I personally think that jazz is really lame and it's just not my thing. And on top of that, the CIA and the US government literally had to send Louis Armstrong on a tour of Europe post-World War II, so that way we could psyop the world into thinking that jazz is cool. But Jake, why would the government even psyop the world into thinking that jazz is cool? Like, that's totally crazy and not real. Well, I'll tell you why, guys. It's because post-World War II, we had this big thing called the Cold War. And in the Cold War, it was basically the USSR versus USA, capitalism versus communism. And we knew that the Soviets are just going to take a toddler, throw a violin in their hand, and then force them to play every single day until they are literally the best in the world. And we just can't do that. It's literally the opposite of how we work here. We kind of just cross our fingers and hope for the best. And you know what? It seems to keep working out time and time again. Now, granted, when the US government sent Louis Armstrong to Europe, that inevitably inspired the Beatles along with a lot of blues music, which inspired Black Sabbath, which inspired Metallica. So in some strange turn of events, jazz ended up helping create heavy metal. So anyway, we're going to talk about my favorite guitar performances in the vein of metal music. And this is in no particular order. We're just going to go based off the seat of my pants and how I feel, starting with Children of Bodom's Vivaldi Summer. Can you tell I'm a huge Alexi fan? Now, I know what you're gonna say. Remember when I said metal and classical are pretty much in the same vein? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is Alexi Leo and Ruut Latvala of Children of Bodom in what I would consider the golden era of Children of Bodom, performing Vivaldi's Four Seasons Summer. This is by far one of the oldest in my repertoire. I remember I tried to play this at a talent show in the 8th grade and my entire family came out and I butchered this song. I did not do well. I did not have the chops and I picked something. I bit off more than I could chew, if I'm being real. So yeah, that's when I decided I need to buckle down and get good, and then I didn't get much better. Oops. Children of Bodom formed in 1993 in Finland, and they really did an awesome job of fusing melodic death metal with power metal and neoclassical influences. And honestly, to this day, Alexi Leo is one of the most respected players in the entire genre. And he's really known for like being a lightning fast shredder and having these crazy, like classically inspired and like kind of pop fusion arrangements. And guys, this one really showcases how much of their classical influences there really are. All right, next we have Polyphia, Goat. Now, do I really need to say anything more? Polyphia is awesome. And when this song came onto the scene, don't laugh at me, guys. I was a SoundCloud rapper. And this was really one of the first times that I heard guitar music, almost like heavy metal adjacent music that sounded like a hip hop beat. And my first reaction was to do a freestyle over it. Don't worry, I lost the track, so you guys probably never gonna hear that. But if you do want to hear my SoundCloud raps, go below and comment Gemini. You'll understand why later. If we get 50 comments that say Gemini down below, I will link you guys to my SoundCloud rap days. Ugh. Dark times. Now, Polyphia is from Texas, and they formed in 2010, and a lot of people like to say that they reinvented the guitar by mixing progressive metal with hip hop, pop, trap beats, funk, and R&B. And guys, this song is honestly, the day it hit, they just went, just launched right in the stratosphere. And Tim Henson was a bona fide legend from day one. Hats off to Polyphia. All right, up next, we have Scale the Summit, Atlas Novus. Now, Scale the Summit, you might make an argument that this is not a metal band. Add distortion, that's a metal band. And for that matter, this is my list. F you, make your own list. Now, Scale the Summit is a band that kind of came to me during that SoundCloud rapper era of my life. And I was very like sad, just out of high school, teenager, becoming a man type of thing. Like, this is seriously excellent music to just put on during your morning cup of coffee, getting ready for the day. Honestly, if you take an entire day of your life and just listen to Scale the Summit, start to finish, every single album, that would be a great day and you'd have a dope soundtrack. Either way, these guys really are one of the pioneers of modern instrumental progressive metal. And they're from Texas, I believe Houston, and they started in 2004 from guitarist Chris Letchford. The band became known for technical yet melodic instrumental songwriting. They really do like this interesting blend of jazz, fusion, prog rock, metal, and I think some of the standout albums are like The Collective. And, you know, in a weird way, some people might say this is like the lighter end of the gent era. So, Chris Letchford, thank you for the amazing music that you've given the world. I really appreciate it, and I hope that the audience watching this video really appreciates this too. All right, moving on. Guys, this one is a toss-up. I couldn't decide. I couldn't pick between For the Love of God or the Halo theme because Steve Vai knocks it out of the park every single time. God, what an absolute banger. So incredibly awesome. So let me give you a little backstory on this song's history with me. My brother was deployed in Iraq, and when he left for deployment, he couldn't bring all of his stuff with him. So what got left behind was an Xbox and a Halo, and I found all three of them. This is 2004. I had been playing Halo with my best friend for the last few years, guys, since my brother was deployed, and we had some of the best gaming moments of our entire lives. This is really foundational stuff for us when Halo came out. And then when we are in the midst of Halo fever, right? Halo 2 drops. And the commercial for Halo 2 is a guitarist that me and my best friend had just learned about from his dad, because his dad had some pretty cool records. And it is Steve Vai playing the Halo theme song, the song that we've been obsessing over for years, and it's Steve freaking Vai. Oh my goodness, guys, you don't even understand how on fire the world of metal, the world of gaming was at this time. Now, Steve Vai really is one of the most influential virtuosic guitar players of all time. And after transcribing music for guys like Zappa, he went on to play with David Lee Roth and Whitesnake before building his own legendary solo career. Now, For the Love of God is widely considered one of the greatest instrumental guitar pieces ever written. But to me, the Halo theme, the epicness, the awesomeness, the raw balls. Guys, the Halo theme is it for me. I can't glaze it enough. All right. Next one. This one's going to get a little bit weird because I found this guy when I was like genuinely a little boy, and there's not that much information about him out there. But I felt like I needed to share it because it is one of my favorite guitar performances. And it is Hellman, Imagine It Blow. Now, this one is kind of a random one, but I got really into Japanese music when I was like a little boy, discovering, my own. And like I said, my brother's really cool. So when he left for Iraq, he left his Xbox and his entire collection of anime, which included Dragon Ball Z, Berserk, Ninja Scroll, stuff that a 9-year-old probably shouldn't be getting into, but I was advanced for my age. Let me tell you what, guys, if all the other kids are still watching Blue's Clues and you're coming home talking about Berserk, makes for a pretty weird guy. But either way, so I was going down the rabbit hole of Visual K and one of my favorite all-time bands, the Sex Machine Guns, and on this weird YouTube sidebar, I see Hellman, and I click on it, and it is this awesome descending sweep picking with these like really bluesy guitar solos. And now that I'm going back and looking at it, this is like the most Japanese thing possible. From the hairstyle to the guitar to the riff itself, this is extremely Japanese. He's a really technical Japanese solo artist known primarily through the internet. He's really good at like the shred guitar thing, but also neoclassical phrasing as well as progressive songwriting. And he does have like a small cult following, but I really think Hellman should have a bigger following. I wish more people knew about Hellman. So this is me kind of paying homage to somebody who inspired me a lot as a young man to pick up this instrument. Now, I don't even know when this video is from. It says 16 years ago. So this video was published. Oh my God, this video is from 2006. So, Hellman, 20 years later, I hope that your music is still inspiring young musicians and making people want to go pick up their instrument and play it, because that's what you did for me. And I hope that you get to see this video someday and know how important your music was to a young guitar player in America. All right, guys, following up one Japanese guitar player with another, one of my all-time favorite songs is I Miss You by Ichika Nito. Now, a lot of people were getting mad at Ichika recently because they said that he was miming his guitar playing. I'm not terrifically upset about it, especially if it's like a Instagram reel or a YouTube video. A lot of times what people are doing, and this isn't the coolest thing, but they're trying to give you a performance that you're going to watch, from the set design to, you know, every little detail about the video has to be perfect when it comes to the visual format. When it comes to audio, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with editing and punching in and all this other stuff. So Ichika, I think people have been a little bit hard on you. I am still a huge fan. He really made a name for himself on YouTube and social media. He has very like minimalist compositions and like these really unique chord phrasings. He's like really one of these like tappy, emotional type of dudes, which I guess if, you know, Scale the Summit's on this list, then it's no surprise that Ichika's on here too. His playing kind of blurs the lines between like math rock, jazz, and like ambient music. I would put on Ichika music when I was a waiter at a restaurant, and I did notice when I would play, you know, Ichika or FKJ, I would get higher tips because it does class up the joint a little bit. But all of my coworkers were like, Jake, why do you enjoy listening to elevator music so much? Can we please listen to like Future or something?
The next thing is not appearing on a record as of yet. I have dubbed it Arpeggios from Hell.
The father of modern neoclassical, the scallop fret genius himself, Yngwie Malmsteen. Guys, this is one of those ones that as soon as I heard it, I had to really take a few weeks, a few months, let's be honest, it was about a year, out of my life to learn how to play this opening riff because of how insanely explosive and technical it is. Now, Yngwie really burst onto the scene in the early 80s and revolutionized lead guitar playing. I mean, like, who else at the time was incorporating Paganini, Bach, classical violin techniques, and mushing that into a heavy metal format? No one. You could say Eddie Van Halen is one of the, like, neoclassical shredder type of guys, and I think that is a very fair argument. But again, my list. And two, I really have always been drawn to the harmonic minor scale, which is something I recently learned because I am such a fan of Yngwie. And he's the one who really like got me into that, as well as sweep picking. And again, insanely influential and one of the guys who inspired me to pick up the guitar. Next on the list, guys, we have Rings of Saturn with my favorite song by Rings of Saturn, Utopia. Now, they started here in California in 2009. I believe Miles Dimitri Baker, who is now in Ice Nine Kills, was the original second guitar player in there. Next to Lucas Mann, who, you know, it did come out that Lucas may not have been the nicest fella to be around. I have no clue about that. They kind of did like this whole alien-themed tech death style shreddy type stuff. And I remember at first they didn't even have a singer. My first Rings of Saturn shirt I bought off of Facebook, I believe, or maybe MySpace, and I missed that shirt so much. I wish I still had it. Yeah, Rings in the early days really pushed the limits of like speed, tapping, sweep picking, and we're playing some of the most technically demanding guitar music, especially in the realm of extreme metal. Now, this one definitely kind of fits my vibe if you know that I'm a Scale the Summit fan as well. But yeah, just really love that song. And I don't know the story with Lucas Mann, but if you do, tell me in the comments, please. And I would do my best to separate the art from the artist because Utopia really is a beautiful song. All right. We have one honorable mention here, and that is Suicide Silence and Then She Bled. Now, the reason this is an honorable mention is because it's not really virtuoso music. This is more of a horrifying song. And I remember the first time I heard it, it really made the hair stand up on my arm and freaked me out a little bit because what they did is they took the police dispatch phone call from a monkey attack that happened in their hometown of Riverside. But outside of the horrifying audio that's going behind it, the guitars are fucking crushing, absolutely crushing you, in the kind of foreground of this, while this really dark moment in time is being captured in the background. And you kind of try to listen through the music to hear what the police phone call is saying. And basically what had happened was a woman in Riverside, California, had a chimpanzee as a pet, and that chimpanzee had brutally her partner. It ripped her face off and did just did what chimpanzees do. And, unfortunately, I think someone died from that. And, it's very, very unsettling. As far as the song goes, absolutely deserves some praise because it is one of the few pieces of music that I've ever heard in my life that actually evoked a deep, unsettling, dark reaction. You know what I mean? It's I've been listening to extreme metal my entire life, so hearing things like Cannibal Corpse when I was a kid, really wasn't a shock to me. This was a shock. Shout out Suicide Silence. Thank you to the Fathers of Deathcore. I really appreciate everything you've done for the community. All right, moving on. Last one on the list, guys. And this one isn't so much a heavy metal song. Not really classical either, but you'll see. We have Estas Tone with the Song of the Golden Dragon. Now, Estas Tone is a Ukrainian-born guitarist and traveling composer. He's really known for these emotionally charged, improvisational acoustic performances that are flamenco, classical, gypsy world music. And rather than focusing on technical virtuosity alone, his music emphasizes storytelling, spirituality, human connection. If you look at an interview of Estas Tone, you realize, oh, this guy is an absolute hippie. I'm sure he's charging crystals right now and, waiting for the waning gibbous so that way he could put them on and heal his chakras. The Song of the Golden Dragon is kind of like this internet phenomenon. Sore Hands, Cameron reacted to this song and was just like, it's just E minor doodling up and down the neck and, really just learn your scales, guys. And it's yeah, kind of, but I mean, it's kind of like the Gordian knot, which if you don't know the Gordian knot, Alexander the Great came upon the Gordian knot and the monks who guarded it said, whoever unties the knot will be the ruler of the world. So Alexander took out his sword and cut the knot. And the monks replied, anybody could have done that. That doesn't count. And he said, anybody could have done it, but I did. And Estas Tone noodled in E minor better than anybody else I know, but it's one of my favorite pieces of music to listen to. Now, a lot of people on the internet would even go as far to say that this is one of the most moving guitar performances ever recorded. He's primarily a solo artist. I think he's collaborated with some musicians and dancers here and there, as he, gypsies around the world. But what I think I like the most about Estas Tone is from the videos that I've seen, he really makes each performance feel very unique and organic. And that is something that I can really appreciate. I'm not into the Grateful Dead. I don't like the string cheese incident, okay? I think hippies are kind of like my least favorite subculture of people. That being said, if jam bands could sound and make me feel like Estas Tone makes me feel, then maybe I would be into Fish a little bit more, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't get it. Either way, guys, that has been my top 10 guitar instrumental songs that are the best of all time. If you have some songs that you enjoy a lot and you would like to tell me about it, please tell me down in the comments, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. It would really help us grow this channel. But that's it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.